Hello everyone, we are Group 6 and our topic for this project is protection of personal data in Malaysia. Let me first introduce our group members. I'm Dai Qi together with Ye Yan, He Cai and Wang Guanya. Now let's begin by understanding what personal data means and why protecting it is so important today. So what is personal data? Personal data refers to any information that can be used to identify a person. Some examples include your name, IC number, phone number, email address, home address, or even banking information. In short, if the information helps someone know who you are, it is personal data. Second, why is personal data protection important? Firstly, it helps prevent problems like fraud, identity theft, and online scams. Secondly, it builds trust between organizations and the people who give them their personal information, like customers, students, or employees. Thirdly, it ensures that companies follow the Personal Data Protection Act 2010 or PDPA, which is Malaysia's main law for data privacy. And lastly, it helps raise awareness about how we use and share information in the digital world.
Today, I'm going to talk about the PDPA, which stands for Personal Data Protection Act. PDPA is a law in Malaysia created in 2010 to protect people's personal data. It makes sure that companies and organizations handle our personal information in a safe and legal way. This includes how they create, use, store, and process our data. Now, why is PDPA important? First, it helps protect our personal privacy in today's digital world. Second, it helps customers trust business because they know their data is safe. Lastly, it ensures that companies follow ethical and legal rules when handling data. Let's also talk about who is affected by PDPA. It applies to all people in Malaysia, including residents. Any company or people that share personal data for business, whether local and international, must follow PDPA, as long as their work involves Malaysia data. So in short, PDPA is here to protect us and guide business in doing their right thing with our data. Now let's look at how PDPA works in practice. PDPA has 7 key principles to make sure data is shared properly. These rules help companies handle personal data safely and fairly, especially when doing business. Let me explain these 7 principles quickly. First one is general principle. Company must get permission before using someone's data. Second is notice and choice. People must be told how their data will be used, and they should have a choice. 3. Disclosure principle. Companies must say who they will share the data with. Security principle. Data must be kept safe and protected. 5. Principle is retention principle. Companies shouldn't keep data longer than necessary. Data integrity principle. Data must be correct and up to date. The last one is access principle. People have the right to see and correct their own data. These principles help business stay legal, protect user privacy, and build trust with customers. If companies does not follow this, it could face legal or reputation problems. So PDPA is not just a law, it is a guide for doing business the right way in a digital world.
I will talk about the major data leak case in Malaysia, the NRD data leak in June 2022. In this incident, the personal information of millions of Malaysian citizens was found for sale on suspicious website. The case became public on June 12, and the government responded quickly. The leaked data include names, MyCAN numbers, home addresses, birth dates, gender, religion, ethnicity, even photos and records of police and military staff. This was one of the biggest and most sensitive data breaches in Malaysia's history. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commissions blocked the website. Cybersecurity in Malaysia also started an investigation. The public was warned to watch out for identity theft and scams. Now, let's look at the legal side. This case clearly shows a violation of the PDPA, the Personal Data Protection Act 2010. First, the security principle was broken. The agency did not take enough steps to protect the data. This goes against Section 9 of the PDPA. Second, the disclosure principle was also violated. Personal data was shared without the user's consent, which broke Section 10 of the PDPA. Under PDPA, violators can be fined up to 500,000 Malaysian ringgit, jailed for 3 years, or both, even though government agencies were originally exempt from the PDPA. This case caused strong public pressures to change that. Many people are now at risks of identity theft, fraud, and even discrimination. Also, leaking the data of police and army personnel could harm national security.
In this slide, we look at whether a data breach may constitute negligence under Malaysia law. According to tort law, organizations have a duty of care to protect users' personal data. If they fail to apply proper security measures, they breach that duty. If harm occurs, such as identity theft or financial loss, then all four elements of negligence are met: duty, breach, causation, and damages. From the contract law perspective, even if there is no written contract, users reasonably expect their data to be kept safe. This expectation creates an implied term of confidentiality. A data leak may violate this implied obligation. Finally, under the Personal Data Protection Act 2010, failure to protect personal data can lead to legal and commercial consequences, including loss of trust and potential lawsuits. Let's take a final look at why protecting personal data is so important, not just from a technical side, but also from a legal one. A data breach isn't just a system problem, it's a legal issue. Once personal data is leaked, the result can be serious and long-lasting, like money loss, damage to someone's reputation, or being used from a political purpose. That's why we, as future workers or business people, need to understand and follow some key legal rules. First, there must be clear and legal reason to collect and use personal data. Second, there should be openness and responsibility during the whole process. Third, companies should build a strong system to follow the law and reduce risk. Protecting data is not just a rule on paper, it's a job we all share, including companies, individuals, and the government. From this research, we've realized that law does not only live in textbook, it lives in how business operates, how government act, and how consumers respond. Legal awareness helps us not only to company, but also to improve the system we live in. More importantly, data protection is not just the responsibility of the authorities, it is a shared responsibility. Every organization, every employee, and every citizen play a role in protecting personal information. Let me end with one final message. In the digital age, data is power. Knowing the law means taking control of risk and responsibility.